spooky series. This game is one in which you play a person who has inherited a horticulture / herbalist shop from their uncle, and we are learning about these different plants and their uses, and we're also getting more and more information about a local mystery involving some witches and the apparent murder of their leader, also known as the Arder. So let's get back into it. In our previous play, I think we got to the end of day 2. We met quite a few customers and different characters. So let's see what happens on our 3rd day. Day 2, Saturday. Okay, I was worried it hadn't saved our progress, but it has done. So we're on day 2, but we've done everything that we need to for the day. So let's formally end our day. And like yesterday, our first day, we end with a deck of cards. North of Hawkshead, east of Lowick, west of Rusland, south of Crinkle Crags. That's a good name for ASMR. Crinkle Crags, Crinkle Crags, Crinkle, 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 Crinkle Crags. The book both fascinated and terrified her in equal measure, and after studying it for some time, she reached a decision. She would never use the power she had discovered. She would hide the book where it could never be found. So we still don't know who this refers to. But there's a mysterious book that she has found in the library, and she has hidden it away. The plot thickens. So it's now day 3. It's Sunday. Well, we have a new clue. Let's open our drawer that has our useful things in. I'm going to put the labels back where they came from. And let's exercise our will to explore. And we may be able to figure out this clue and go to this location. So north of Hawkshead. Well, it says east of Lowick, and I can see Lowick just here. East of Lowick, so east of there. Hawkshead is a lot further north. West of Rusland. Okay, so we have Lowick and Rusland. And we need to be east of Lowick, but west of Rusland. So that's in this middle column here. And then we need to be north of Hawkshead, which is here. Well, just to the right, but I don't want to lose my place. And south of Crinkle Crags. Now where's Crinkle Crags? Crinkle Crags is just to the left here, so we need to be north of Hawkshead and south of Crinkle Crags. So we're in this row, and I believe this column. Let's try it. Success. My eyes are drawn to the silhouette of a grizzled old man standing at the edge of a field. His mind is broken, seemingly beyond repair. vacant eyes fixate on nothing. A whisper of an expression as my gaze sweeps his face, but only a whisper. He raises his arm, points. I follow his outstretched finger and am surprised to find a cluster of wild flowers growing there, hidden from view. So a mysterious old man has directed us to 2 new plants. Let's collect them. Well, we've got a nice spiky red one and one with some nice dark blue flowers. We've had a lot of new dark blue plants actually. I'm going to have a quick look. We'll drag them over here for a closer inspection. Bright red flowers grow at the ends of thin stems. Well, that's not information that we couldn't have figured out ourselves just by looking at the plant, so it's not entirely helpful. Let's try this one. Dark blue flowers, smells like sweet rhubarb. Delicious. Okay. Well, let's close up our map. I'll get our book open, our encyclopedia, that has all our information in. Good morning, Elibor. How are you, my little kitten? Oh, what a good kitty. Okay, let's ding the bell to welcome in our first customer. Wilbur Miller. This is someone new, I think. I'm looking for a plant. Lady of, what's it, something or other. Oh, I'm no green-eyed Dreyer, that's for sure. My mind isn't at all what it used to be. It's the one that's supposed to help with mental decline. Well, very helpfully it is told it is Lady of Summer. So let's go to that entry in the book. Lady of Summer, Cometessa aestivium. The leaves curl round delightfully, which, combined with an attractive flower and a hardy nature, make this a sought-after ornamental plant. Aids with conditions of memory deterioration associated with old age. Okay. So, it's a pretty flower and it has curly leaves. Well, I remember having a look at one that had curly leaves before. This one is a very pretty flower. Let's have a look. A single sweet-smelling dark flower. Well, the shape of the flower and these stamen, if they're called stamen, my plant anatomy is not great. It's not dissimilar to this, and it certainly has these lovely curly leaves. There's nothing, at least in the description, that contradicts this. So I think we will make a guess at this one and use this plant. We're correct. We've received a book entry for Fennet. Wonderful. Okay. Well, let's see the next customer, shall we? David Chafer is our postman. They're saying the Arder's been killed. Let's scroll up just there. I know a lot of people don't trust that sisterhood, but it seemed to me the Arder always looked out for the less fortunate. Collect the letter. The cold is too much to bear beyond the gap. I was forced to turn back. I would advise against it, but if you are determined to explore Great Gable, be sure to take precautions. Knowing you, I'm sure you'll have a plant up your sleeve that can keep you warm should the weather turn against you. Warmest regards, Amos Duncan. So you may remember from part 1 that we received a couple of letters from Amos Duncan. I don't know what our relationship is to him, that he seems to be a friend who writes us from various places on his travels and keeps us up to date with plant discoveries he makes. So why don't we try and have a look at what he's talking about? Great Gable. Okay. Now let's have a look. Let's see if we can find Great Gable. I can't see it just yet. What have I missed? Oh, there we are. Right at the north of our map. Great Gable, 899 meters. After several hours of arduous hiking and scrambling, I am still some distance from the summit. I am freezing cold and ready to head home. I should do the sensible thing and turn back down the mountain, unless we have some brimlock. That doesn't seem to be a plant that we have already discovered. No, so there's no tick in our book. Let's see what our encyclopedia tells us about brimlock, or Folium caldarius. Those suffering from hypothermia can be rescued by a draught made from using leaves from the brimlock plant. It has a warming effect that protects against extreme cold. When conditions are just right in the cold of winter, brimlock produces small yellow flowers. The leaves are waxy and tough. Okay, so we potentially are looking for a plant with small yellow flowers, although I don't know if the conditions are right. And we need waxy and tough leaves. Let's have a look at what plants we have up here. These are the only with yellow flowers. And we need waxy and tough leaves. Let's have a look at this one. Well, it says smooth, waxy leaves. It doesn't contradict what it says in this description. The leaf shape is not dissimilar. And the lack of flowers suggests these may not be the ideal winter conditions. I'm going to try this. We may be wrong, but we'll soon find out. Success. We've received a book entry. The Sunset Mount Cap. Another type of fungus, excellent. I push on, no longer feeling the cold, and am presently rewarded with a new plant. Like a sort of purplish daisy. Let's see what it says about our new plant. Grey-blue flowers with an orange centre. Grey-blue, not purple. Okay. Well, I think it's time we spoke to another customer, don't you? Norman Lee. This plant is cursed. It has brought me nothing but sorrow. Please take it. I want nothing more to do with it. Well, we seem to have accepted a potentially cursed plant. It looks quite similar to a different fungus, the wandering bew that we received before. Let's see what it says. A mushroom-like plant with red spores growing on it. Well, that doesn't give us much information, I suppose. It says a mushroom-like plant, so perhaps not a mushroom at all. It's not a fungus. Interesting. Okay. Next customer. Simone Green is back. She's the librarian. Hellebore, always a pleasure, my feline friend. I hope he hasn't been nibbling the plants again. I have a favour to ask. You owe me for the hours I spent digging out the information on those plants. I've been burning the midnight oil again and could use some common trouse, and I know where to find it. According to Grayson's herbology, it grows in abundance on red pike. I'll come by the day after tomorrow and collect it. I have business in Sedberg. In the meantime, here, take this. So we have the book entry on common trouse. Despite being described as common, the trouse can in fact be quite tricky to find. However, it is known to grow in abundance on the slopes of red pike. Nobody knows why. Its leaves have been used for centuries as a balm against eye strain. Red pike. Well, we may as well go and explore red pike while we can. Now let's see if I can find it. Looking at all the mountains up here. Ah, here we are. 826 meters. Let's go for a hike. I enjoy a pleasant stroll up the fell. The going is easy, the weather agreeable, and the views majestic. I do not have to look hard to find what I am after. Well, sounds like a lovely little journey. We've acquired a new plant. A very leafy green one. No visible flowers. No flower. Sparse leaves. Sparse description. So that was common trouse, I believe. Let's label it. We don't know for sure that is the case, but I assume so, given that that's what we were tasked with finding up there. Let me double check the book one more time to see what it says. Well, the leaf shape looks about right, doesn't it? It doesn't really give us much more of a description about the plant, but I expect that we're correct. Let's speak to the next visitor. Verona Green. When you work with the occult, I find it pays to uphold a certain image. If you're going to be accused of performing witchcraft anyway, it doesn't hurt to put on a bit of a show every now and then. Let the punters know what I'm capable of. Let the punters know what I'm capable of, sort of thing. Long story short, I may have threatened to turn a small boy into a toad, and the little bugger called my bluff. Oh, don't look at me like that, you know what little boys are like. I can assure you, he deserves to be turned into a toad. Anyway, I think a little display is needed to discourage this sort of behaviour in the future. Have you got any shimmerlung? Now, I remember us receiving an entry for shimmerlung. I'm not sure if we identified it. No, we hadn't yet identified it. Let's see. The dried stem of the shimmerlung burns very brightly and noisily, letting off a near blinding white-purple light. Flowers grow wrapped in large, ridged leaves. Okay, I remember reading something similar to that. Let's have a look at the plants up here and see what we can see. Ah, it might be this one. We looked at that briefly earlier. It has a pleasing scent. The leaves have stiff ribs. So you can see the ribbing on the leaves there. And these sort of tubes inside look quite similar to that. Flowers grow wrapped in large rich leaves. It's quite distinctive. I don't think that can be anything else. Let's try. Correct. And we've received a page about candlewood. Who's next? Ruth Douglas. Are they new? There is a beautiful plant that I've been looking for all over, but nobody seems to have any. Something. Monk brew. I'm not sure. I do know that you shouldn't touch the leaves though. Okay. Meek dew, is that what she means? Mellow glow. Monk brew. Meek dew sounds similar enough. The beautiful flowers made up of many smaller florets make this a sought-after decorative plant. Although it is difficult to care for, it may be a pleasant looking plant, but touching the leaves against bare skin will result in painful sores. Okay, so that sounds right, doesn't it? Now we just need to identify it. The flowers are made up of many smaller florets. Okay. Well, it's not that one. We've already identified that. That we've already identified. What else? This perhaps. This seems to be the only one that we have that has flowers made up of lots of smaller flowers. Small leaves, delicate flowers. Well, it's hard to see the flowers close up, but they do seem to have a similar shape to this. Mollis fidem. Let's give it a try, shall we? We did it. Meek dew. Okay. Well, before we forget, let's label that. Well, we saw quite a lot of customers on that day. We've identified quite a few plants and received quite a few new ones. What do you think, Elibor? Did you have a good day? Let's end the day then. Once again, we are greeted with a stack of cards. It's a ripped card. Not much on there. A little cross. Time passed. A year. And then another. The book remained hidden. But out of sight did not mean out of mind. The book was what her thoughts settled on when she rested. What she brooded over when she did her chores, what she pictured when she dreamed. Interesting. Okay, well, we've got a tiny bit more information about this hidden book. It's hidden, but it's still in her thoughts. Interesting. Okay. It's day 4, Monday, and it's raining again. I like the rainy days. The sound of rain is so relaxing. When you're indoors, that is. Good morning, little Elibor. Well, first things first. Let's see if we can find out anything about this strange card we've been given. I mean, there are some very, very, very faint markings on there, but who knows if those are even markings at all or just dirt. Who can tell? Let's check our map. I don't know where to begin. ask for a hint. I should call in the next customer, or maybe look through my notes and letters to see if they lead me anywhere interesting. Okay, well, yes, I had already done that. I thought you would give me a bit more information than that. Do these markings relate to anything? Oh, that's sort of similar to the coastline there, isn't it? Oh, look at that. That's a perfect fit. And it's here in row N. This one. I think it was here. Black comb. We did it. The gentle sound of flowing water, the sunlight through scattered clouds. A reset. Well, I'm quite pleased we figured that out. We seem to have acquired 2 new plants. This nice puffy bluish grey one, and this sort of lilac coloured one with yellow stripes on, yellow lines. Let's have a quick look, shall we? Our newly acquired plants. Soft pale blue flowers. Okay. A rather unpleasant scent. A pretty flower that smells unpleasant. Okay, let's speak to our first customer. It's Reuben Ward, he's our investigator. The fox button was no help, I'm afraid. The sisterhood still refused to speak openly with me. Not that I have the time to pursue it properly. I'm rushed off my feet this week. There's been a body found at the Swinside Stone Circle, and apparently it's a grisly one. Don't suppose you've got anything to help keep my lunch down? My stomach's never coped too well with the grisly ones. Well, thankfully it's told us which plant we need, and that's fennel. Let's look in our book. Chewing the tough root of this plant is said to ease gastric distress and reduce anxiety. It has long, soft leaves. The tough root of this plant. Okay. I might just shuffle some of these around. Perhaps we can group together the plants that we have identified. Oops. That was one I had half identified. I'm not certain. So we'll move the others. They're a little bit squished. We might have a tiny bit more in there. For this one, common trouse. Okay. So, long soft leaves, and it has a tough root. Did we not identify this? We did, didn't we? That was shimmerlung, I think. Let me have a quick check. Yes, I mustn't have forgotten to label it. Let's do that now. Shimmerlung. moving along. There we go. I'll move that away. And now we need something. Fennel, wasn't it? Yes. Look at that, that's got a big root. A sweet scent like strawberry dipped in honey. Sounds delicious, but doesn't sound like what we're looking for. Does it not have flowers? I don't know. Smooth waxy leaves. I thought I had identified this previously. I think I had, and I've not labelled it. But I can't remember what it was. To put it up there. The flowers are soft purple with a sweet scent. Grey blue flowers with an orange centre. It's not giving us much information, is it? Pale yellow flowers. The leaves are quite soft. Well, this says it has long, soft leaves. So that's a possible. Let's put that over there. What's this one? Stiff leaves. Well, we can certainly rule that out. I need to move the mushrooms up there together. So not a mushroom. What else do we have? Fruits. Long flat leaves. Well, that could work, but it doesn't say they're necessarily soft, which is what we want. Bright red flowers grow at the ends of thin stems. No. Dark blue flowers smells like sweet rhubarb. A rather unpleasant scent. This was the pale blue flowers, wasn't it? Yes. A single pink flower that smells pleasant. Well, these leaves don't look very soft. But we've only got a few left, so we may as well try them all, I guess. Why won't it move? Can't select it. That's strange. Can I not do this anymore? There we go. Cream coloured flowers, they smell wonderful. Turquoise flowers, sharp thorns. Small red berries. Okay, well, we don't seem to have anything else that mentions having soft leaves, so I think we will have to go with, was it this one? Success. And we now have the entry for witch fig. Right, let's quickly label that before I forget. Now, I'm pretty sure I identified this, and I want to get it labelled, but I'm going to have to do a bit of deduction. So Brimlock has a little tick next to it which says we have identified it, and if so, it should have a label. Or we could have figured this out quite quickly if Brimlock is the one. Waxy and tough, yes, it was Brimlock. I remember now. This was the plant that we used when we went up a cold mountain to protect us from hypothermia. Mystery solved. Okay, let's speak to our next customer. It's David Chafer, our postie. Morning. Verona Green handed me this for you. She seemed in a good mood. Well, that's good to hear. Cheers, Dave. I meant to tell you this yesterday, but it slipped my mind. I discovered a plant on a recent trip to Griesdale Forest, just northeast of Rossland. It was like nothing I've ever seen before. I would have brought it back with me if the sisterhood had given me a moment alone, but they seem overly protective lately. Okay, so Griesdale Forest just northeast of Rossland. Let's go and have a look. Here's Griesdale Forest. Northeast of Rossland. So here, let's give that a try. From the moment I step off the road, I can't shake the feeling I'm being watched. Suddenly, I find my way blocked by 3 women in cloaks, wearing green cloaks, and holding short elm bows. Nobody may wander freely throughout the forest by order of the Arda, says the leader of the trio. I turn to walk back, but then again, I have a few tricks up my sleeve. So the suggestion is to use Mellow Glow. Excuse me while I take a sip of my tea. Among other uses for this plant, the most remarkable is that it can allow a person to pass unnoticed. Though not invisible, it is possible to become hidden from sight and memory. The Mellow Glow has sharp thorns that protect it from predators. Okay, magical properties. This plant can hide us away. So we're looking for thorns. Well, there's definitely thorns there. I'm sure there was another plant, wasn't there, that had thorns? Ah, this one. Let's see. Turquoise flowers, sharp thorns. And how about this one? A single pink flower that smells pleasant. It doesn't mention the thorns which are on there. I say we try this one first because it mentions the sharp thorns specifically. Let's give that a go. Success. With the help of the Mellow Glow, I walk right past the sisters without them paying me any heed. Chuckling to myself, I collect the plant that Verona talked about and take my leave. Okay, well, we have a new entry for Caballia. And what plant have we acquired? Yes, well, these little grape-like appendages. Bunch of grapes. Where did it go? Oh, it's there. Let's see. The bulb is quite firm and turquoise in colour. It doesn't look turquoise to me. The orange fruits have no noticeable odour. Okay. Oh, we haven't labelled the Mellow Glow. Can I do that? Oh, there. That's easier than dragging it the other direction. Here we are. Okay, let's move on, shall we? What's this under here? I will put that in our archive and call in the next customer. Faye Swift. I am afraid the camphor you gave me is helping me sleep, and I'm very grateful for it, but the visions are as strong as ever. The woman in the jade mask appears in my dreams every night. She screams at me, but I do not know why, and behind her, that presence is always there, dark and dreadful. I don't know what to do. The dreams feel like a warning that I don't understand, a mosaic of colour that refuses to come into focus. Some part of me wants to stare down that abyss, but I'm afraid. So, in our previous play, we met Faye, and we got some information about her. She is the psychic. She grew up with her mother. Her father was rarely violent, but once is enough. When he struck her, it finally broke the hold he had over her mother, and she fled in the night. The sleeping Faye held close. Faye often has vivid dreams, but has never considered that other people do not. She came to Strange Horticulture seeking relief from her nightmares. So last time we gave her a plant to help with the nightmares, but it hasn't entirely helped. So our options are Agoria or Candlewood. Let's see. Agoria. Cyphus spectaculum. When burned, incense made from the woody stem can enhance psychic abilities, strengthening the clarity of visions and prophecies. Light blue flowers like rounded tufts of gentle lambswool characterize this plant. Well, this certainly sounds like it could help. It certainly sounds like what she wants, or at least needs, because she can't quite get clarity about her visions. Let's just double check Candlewood to make sure. Lucernum, Caledonia, produces a red flower that provides a shielding effect, protecting against all manner of afflictions of the mind. Long thin stems grow among tall leaves. Okay, so this could maybe protect her mind from the visions. Some part of her wants to stare down the abyss, but she's afraid. Well, the dreams feel like a warning I don't understand. I think she needs to know the meaning of the dreams, and so I'm going to prescribe Agoria. So we need light blue tufty flowers, and this looks about right because we've already identified that one, which is similar to what we want, and indeed that one. Let's give this a go. Agoria. We've received a book entry for Worryless. Let's label our Agoria plant. Now, what was the previous one we looked at? Candlewood. A red flower. Long thin stems grow among tall leaves. It might be this one. Bright red flowers at the end of thin stems. I may label that one as Candlewood. That seems right. Okay, next customer please. Margaret Elspeth, this is someone new. We don't come to Undermere often, but I heard about your shop and I said to Francis, we simply must pay a visit. It's a wonderful breath of a life in another otherwise dreary town. I'm the green-fingered one, and it's not really his cup of tea, but I persuaded him the trip would do him good, and besides, he'll be wanting to take a boat out on the lake. Shame about this awful weather, though. You must come to Zizek. We have a small library with some books on plants that my grandfather acquired many years ago. I'm sure they will be of interest to a horticulturalist such as yourself. Well, that's a very kind invitation. Let's have a look. You are cordially invited to Zizek Castle, Lord and Lady Elspeth. Well, why hang around, eh? Let's go there now. And here it is, Zizek Castle. I am greeted enthusiastically by Lady Elspeth herself. She is very talkative and has many questions on horticulture that I do my best to answer as she takes me on a tour of the gardens. Oh, you must take a sample of this back with you, she exclaims, pointing out a plant that I do not recognise. But before I can stop to take a look, she has already whisked me away onto the next. And this one too, she says. I am quite exhausted by the time we make it to the library, and I don't have the time to make as thorough a study as I would like. Nevertheless, I am able to find an interesting entry that I note down. Don't forget these, Lady Elspeth cries as I make to leave. She thrusts the plants from the gardens into my hands, and I thank her warmly. Well, that was a very kind invitation, Lady Elspeth, and she's given us some useful info. Fever kiss. And 2 new, very interesting looking plants. Let's have a quick look, shall we? Where are they? Was that one of them? Small yellow berries. Looks a little bit like mistletoe. And this one, the leaves seem to have a mind of their own. Interesting, I wonder what that could mean. These 2-tone flowers are quite unusual looking. Okay, well, let's see who we can talk to next. Philip Shaw. Mushroom. Red spores. Moves in the dark. That's all I've got. Any ideas? Well, he's quite straight to the point, isn't he, and concise. Well, let's go to our mushroom kingdom over here. So we already have one with red spores called the Wandering Bew, and we have this one. A mushroom-like plant with red spores. So we have red spores, but I'm stuck on this mushroom-like plant, suggesting it's not actually a mushroom. So the Wandering Bew. Let's just refresh our memory as to what its description is, shall we? So called because this fungus can move slowly in the dark. Well, he said it moves in the dark. It's been known to cover distances of up to several meters in a single night. That's somewhat terrifying as well as incredibly impressive. But I guess it's the Wandering Bew he wants. And he slinks back into the darkness. Okay, well, next I guess. Oh, let's move that into the archive. That was our invitation from Lady Elspeth. Selena Scott, I think she is new. They're saying Blackcomb is haunted now. Bradley Miller told me he saw the ghost of a huge deer, antlers and all, but then Bradley Miller also says he can talk to squirrels. Either way, there's something evil in their mills, and I'm not taking any chances. Awful what happened to that poor young man up at Swinside. I've come for some stinking Mount Cap. Okay. There's a Sunset Mount Cap. Okay. What does that say? Solis Acacium. The Sunset Mount Cap is a type of fungus with domed caps, sometimes called the stinking Mount Cap. Oh, there we go. As a result of its unpleasant odour, it is thought to deter unwanted souls and spirits from entering the home, and is often placed in doorways. It is mildly toxic to humans and should not be eaten. Well, that's what we're looking for. So, domed caps. Let's see. It smells strongly of soured milk, bad enough to make my eyes water. Well, that would seem to fit in line with the stinking part of it. And the shape does look similar. I think we'll go with that. Correct. Excellent. And we've got a new entry for Henchuck. Let's mark up our Sunset Mount Cap. Well, it was another busy day. try a number of things today. What was the place that she mentioned just then? She said it was haunted. I can't remember the name. Oh, it was Blackcomb, wasn't it? I wonder if we can go there. Let's have a look. I see a pit full of skulls. Some deer, fox, badger, and some human. I wish I had not come. I don't blame you, that sounds unpleasant. Oh dear, a rising dread. I have a growing fear deep within me. I cannot let it take hold. I see. So perhaps when we make a mistake or do something we shouldn't have, it increases our rising dread. Okay. Well, I think we've done all that we can today. We're still no closer to solving the mystery of the Arda's murder. And there was another murder that our investigator Ruben mentioned, but we have no more information about that. So perhaps let's end our day and see what happens. Once again, we have the deck of cards. This sort of smoke emanating from them. Let's see. She lives alone in the castle to the northwest of the abbey. She buried her husband 3 miles to the east, where the Everheart grows. Well, I assume the Everheart is a type of plant that we can acquire if we follow these directions. Okay. At 15, her mother, strong, dependable, loving, was struck down by typhoid. The girl drew inward as her father turned to drink. So, another chapter, I guess. Another nugget of information. With this strange backstory, we have this rather tragic backstory. What does it all mean? Will we be able to get any closer to solving any of these mysteries? We've uncovered quite a few of the plants and their uses, but we seem to just be gathering information that arises more questions, that prompts more questions, and we haven't got that many answers just yet, but it's very intriguing. I want to know more. But we've come to yet the end of another day. That's two more days we've got through, and we will continue on with the game in another video. So I hope you've enjoyed this so far. I hope you're as intrigued as I am, and I hope I will see you next time for some more strange horticulture. Goodbye and good night.